Welcome to another episode of Zero Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I am so excited to have on a 35 and 46-year-old from St. Lazare, Manitoba, Canada, and Cardiff, Wales. Their hockey journeys have taken them to Canada, the USA, England, Italy, Germany, Austria, Denmark, and Wales. One's a third rounder to the New York Rangers, folks. One returns to the shed after episode 123. Has had 901 goals, plays, or listens, folks. There is worry, though, the other will make the shed legitimate as he adds another NHL game played to the roster with the New York Rangers. At the start of this season, one was a player. The other was into the hospitality side of the game, and they are now EIHL playoff champions as the coaches of the shed's second favorite team, the Cardiff Devils. After running amok all playoffs long, welcome to the shed, Brodie, Dupont, and Neil Francis.
All right, that was nice.
Yeah.
Except,
Thank you.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one to pronounce, but it's Saint Lazare.
St. Lazare. Okay.
Yeah, now we got it.
The E at the end, I wasn't sure if I had to get after the A or not, you know?
It's a little bit French. I get a little bit of French in there. That's why.
Where is that then?
In the middle of Manitoba. It's just like a small village, like kind of on the Saskatchewan border. So.
And that's where you're from?
That's where I grew up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, nice to meet you. I get into how we know each other. I guess we're meeting right now.
Yeah. Nice to meet you as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Franny. Thanks for coercing him into my shed.
No problem. Everyone wants to come in the shed. It's not hard to get people in.
It's hard to keep up when you have a full-time job and kids and, stuff going on. A lot of people do want to come on, and a lot of people want to recommend other people to come in. And, I'll talk to anybody, but you guys, I had to get on. So, Dukes, you got injured at the start of the year. Do you know what the Cardiff Devils got me to do when I got injured at the start of the year? They spray painted me naked and made me do pregame speeches. And you got to coach the team.
Yeah. Same thing, isn't it?
I guess it's whatever they think they can get out of you, right?
It's all.
I'm not sure who had the best deal there.
Yeah, it's all about helping the organization, right? Wherever they see fit.
I tell you, I just had. I'm in a new group chat, and Deese might be involved in, and he just sent me a couple of the photos of that season, Franny, and I had never seen these.
I'm in there too. I've seen them.
Holy moly, I hadn't seen those ones before. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, life's changed. Okay, well, anyways, nice to meet you. And Franny, episode 123. It is climbing to one of the top 5 episodes ever. You're at 900 listens to me and you shoot the shit. Isn't that funny?
Wow, that's amazing.
I think it is.
Yeah.
And Shed's getting so big, folks. We got a sponsor today. This episode is brought to you by also Dupes' former jersey sponsor, reddragongroup.co.uk, folks. Check them out. You can get a free quote today. They have commercial cleaning, office cleaning, floor and ceiling cleaning, and window cleaning services, folks. And they'll even get security guards, ground maintenance, whatever you need. Even if Deese spray paints the back of all the toilets, these folks can get it off, folks. They'll clean anything. Right, Franny?
Yeah, proven track record of that.
and their managing director just may be on your ball hockey team, the Cardiff Bay Thunder.
Cardiff Bay Thunder, big shout out to them. Yeah. Craig, he's on there.
So when does this season get started? When does the Cardiff Bay Thunder start?
It doesn't end. It doesn't. It's a rolling season. Yeah, I'm on the IR at the moment, though, aren't I, Dupes?
Yeah, you are. You've been on the IR for a month, but
yeah,
when playoff time came for hockey, you battle through it. That's all that matters, right?
You have to battle through in playoffs. Yeah.
I was thinking maybe you got injured in the celebrations this last weekend. No.
No.
I think
a few people did.
Is my creepy stalker neighbor also on the Cardiff Bay Thunder? Dan Perkins?
So.
No,
you
might be playing against him. I think he's in some type of ball hockey league over there. But anyways, Okay. Well, anyways, thanks to Red Dragon Group for sponsoring the shed and being part of the shed family. But yeah, check them out, folks. reddragongroup.co.uk. Anyways, moving on then. So you guys just won.
Yep.
Yeah, we did. We got the hardware.
There we go, right?
Holy. Do you have
Frank doesn't have his hat, though.
No, mine got lost in the.
Well, when you do your hair like that, you can't be wearing hats.
Okay.
Look at that hair. At that age, got to show that off. So anyways, I guess where should we start? I want to know about this. Where are you now, Dupes?
I'm still in Cardiff. You know, I have 3 kids. My kids are in school. So, you know, I'm actually in Dennis Powys, if obviously you're familiar with the area. You know where that is?
What'd you say?
Dennis Powys. Is that right, Franny? Am I saying it right?
Dennis Powys.
Dennis Powys. It's like a village outside of the city. Nice. It's a nice posh area.
Instead of turning off to Penarth, you go straight on. You know where I'm at?
You go straight out of Penarth.
If you're going up from the bay and you're heading towards Penarth, instead of turning off to Penarth, straight across Dennis Powys. Nice little village.
I gotcha. Yep. There's
right
on the corner there. Is there not like a pub right at the corner there?
Yep. Keep going.
Yep.
I think I looked at a flat down in there with the family. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the San Lazaire of Wales.
Yeah. I'm comfortable here, right?
So I know everybody wants to announce stuff in the shed. I actually don't know anything, but if you're still in Cardiff, let me guess, you signed up to coach next year?
No, my kids are in school is what the deal is right now. So, you know,
you wouldn't tell me even if you had. Todd's probably got it in his drawer just waiting to tell everybody, but he's not letting you. I get it. It's cool. I don't even want to know. So your kids are in school. How old are they?
I got a 6-year-old, 4-year-old, and 1-year-old. So I got 2 of them in school and 1 at home.
Holy moly.
Yeah, I'm
busy times, eh?
Busy times. Yeah. Gotta love it though. I love the chaos.
Yeah. So then kids in Wales could go to school at 3 years old. I remember as soon as Colby turned 3, he was in.
Yeah, that's right. They go earlier. Yeah, that was nice for us too with our boys.
So Franny, where and what are you doing now?
I'm in Penarth. I'm like you, working from home and just clocked off for the day and trip to the shed.
Yeah, on my honey hole lunch hour here.
Yep.
Franny, you got the 2 girls, right? They got to be there for a playoff weekend and celebrate with you.
Yeah, they did, and that was like the best thing, you know, to share these moments with the family. Because I mean, the families go through a lot of sacrifices as well, and you know, same with
especially yours, man. You work a full-time job.
Yeah, work 2 full-time jobs this year, and I mean, they make sacrifices, and you know, Laura made the decision to come up. It's sort of in the last week, you know, we obviously had to make the weekend first of all, and then all of a sudden they're scrambling around saying, I think we're going to come. They had a good feeling, and our wives and kids actually traveled up together, so that was pretty cool. They hung out all weekend.
Oh, really? The Duponts and the Francises all came together.
They did. Yeah. In one car.
Full car.
Well, what a memory to be able to sell. Like, because when we won the Challenge Cup when I was in Cardiff, Colby wasn't there. They never actually made the trip that day because Lisa was about ready to have Zoe, right? But like, it would have been cool if he would have been there. But like, that your kids are of the age now, like they're gonna remember that shit.
Yeah, mine still remember that Challenge Cup because they came up for that too.
Yeah.
But now they're that bit older. They're now 10 and 11. You know, they were on the ice. They were on TV, which they thought was cool. So they've seen the highlights back, and you know
that is cool for a kid.
Yeah, and then the medal went into school for show and tell. So Holly was walking in there like a champ on Monday morning. Tuesday actually, it was a bank holiday Monday, but Tuesday morning, and had people kind of flocking her as she was approaching the gate.
You say winning like a champ. You do walk a little different after you win. You just get a little more, you know, there's a little more pep in your step. You just kind of walk around like a champion. You know what I mean? Dude, you know what I mean? Yeah. You've been flaunting your shit around Cardiff this week, haven't you?
It's been fun, yeah. You know, it's been exhausting too in the same breath, right?
Oh yeah. How many nights did you go in a row?
I'm out of credits. You know, I cashed them all in. So, you know, we went Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You know what was kind of weird is like the season got pushed back this year, right? It got extended a week. So most of the guys basically flocked out of town or on holiday almost like 2 days after the championship. So, you know, we didn't have a lot of time to really kind of hang out and kind of get together just with the team.
And just soak it in,
you know,
yeah.
I just soak it in. So it was kind of, it was a little bit kind of different in that sense. But I mean, you know, it didn't stop us from celebrating. We still had a great time.
And you need to every time.
Every time.
Franny, I heard you still know how to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got to go in pretty hard, and photos are still emerging of the sorry state on the bus on the way home.
It can be exhausting. I know. Dupe said it best. It can be exhausting. I remember the bus trip back after the Challenge Cup night. That bus trip back, they had the wives and everybody on the bus, and everybody was so loud. Oh, it hurt.
Yeah. We did. As far as I know, we don't have any fines or
Outstanding
damage
debts
after this one. Yeah, unlike the Challenge Cup.
Well, maybe Todd learned, right? That you guys didn't stay the night. You guys got home, right?
Got out of there,
yeah. We went home after that.
Right. So yeah. So no hotels in Nottingham were upset like they were in Sheffield, right?
Yeah. We're not banned from any places, I don't think.
Okay. So let's see here. I'm gonna start with let's see here, Brodie. So you signed up to be an assistant coach this season and player, is that right?
Yep. That's
How does that happen? Does that Scaldy that make that deal, or?
Yeah, well, they knew I was kind of looking for that. I was honestly looking to go to the ECHL to fill that role. And we kind of had made the decision after coming home from Denmark. It was such a hard travel home from Denmark. It took me 27 hours to get home. I had a fresh baby born in February, and I was basically like, I'm done. Like, I can't go back over the pond. And I got a late call in July, early July, just basically seeing what my interest was. And then they threw that out there. I didn't really know that could be an option. So once I spoke around, with the Cardiff organization, they got a good reputation of how they treat families. And so, we thought about it and kind of made the decision. And you know what, I'm glad we did, in the sense that, like, everything we heard about Cardiff, it ended up being in terms of a team and organization and city and everything that they sold us. It was incredible. Now it's just to kind of feel that winning experience. And then on top of it, the family's really comfortable with the school, so it was really fun. And basically that's kind of was the start of it. And so we just decided, the hell with it. Let's jump in and see what happens. And
so
we'll go from there.
You knew you wanted to get into coaching?
Yeah, this has been kind of a long thing coming, in terms of, just as it was a matter of time of making that transition. So I've been honestly, to be completely honest, I've been honest for 10 years, like just journaling, documenting. I have so much prep work into it already. This is kind of a game that I always knew I wanted to stay in, to be fair. So it was just a matter of when and if that opportunity came. I just wanted to be ready, because obviously look at this season with the injury and being just coming on full time as assistant coach, which was the first opportunity. I just wanted to be ready if that chance came. I didn't ever anticipate it happening this way. So that was kind of
that people say things happen for a reason, right? And like to say, I know what those trips like were with a fresh baby over the pond. That shit is that's more exhausting than celebrating.
That is more exhausting.
Our last flight back, when we knew we were done, and the post hockey anxiety was hitting hardcore, and we get to the airport and they're like, well, why don't you check an extra bag? We'll let you put it down there for free. We see you got a lot of stuff. Why don't you check it for free? So we're like, okay, we don't need this bag. It's the daughter's clothes. Well, we get on the plane and she projectile vomits all over herself, myself, and the whole row of folks. And then we realized we have no clothes for her because they're now under the plane. So we ended up in one, and she vomited the whole way home. And that was our last trip, and it was exhausting.
Murphy's Law. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Doesn't matter what. It's going to happen.
But what I was going to say is things happen for a reason, and that you take that job, you decide to come back over the pond for a good opportunity. And not every season the coach gets fired and then you get vaulted into the position you're in, and you got a wingman like Franny to do it with. And next thing you know, you're a champion coach and you just started. That's a pretty good start.
Yeah, a bit of luck. And Franny and I, it was kind of thrown into the soup, obviously. And to be fair, I don't think there's any better way. Just like,
get into it.
I was felt like I was always ready, but it just, the way things shook out was kind of interesting. But yeah, just kind of threw us in the fire. How I heard the news, to be fair, like obviously like I wasn't involved in any sort of aspect of knowing that Skulls was going to be released or what was going on. And so I was in the office one day. My wife had been going, you got to understand, I went through this process of going from playing to coaching where, essentially my career is over, like unexpectedly. Like, and I thought I would like handle it a lot better, but I was actually quite depressing, to be honest. And I tried to hide it as best as possible. And it's basically like you're grieving. Like it's just a weird process to go through. And so, of course, our wives, like they got to wear that. They got to be the ones that are, there for us. So she was kind of, basically she wore that for, from December on to whenever this happened. And she was kind of saying, you know what, I just need a day. I just need a day where I can go relax and just enjoy myself. I was like, yeah, no problem. We're going to playoffs. Okay. Things are going to get real busy. So tell you what, let's get a hair salon booked at Ken Picton. Was he here when you were here?
Oh yeah.
So she goes out to see Kenny P. I come home early from the office. I grab my little one. My other two are in school. I head back down to the office, forgot to print something. So I'm like, I'll rip back to the office after I drop her. So I'm in the office. It's 2:30 or so. And this is basically how I found out. My little 1-year-old's running around the office. I'm just printing something off and my phone's ringing. Todd's calling me and I'm like, what's going on here? So hey, how's it going? He's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just in the office, but got to pick up my kids from school in like 20 minutes. What's up? And he's like, okay. He's like, just kind of like, he's call me after then. I'm like, kind of sounded urgent. I'm like, okay. I was like, well, what's up? He's like, hey, we're letting Skulls go. And, you're basically, we're going to let you and Franny take the team. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm coming to your office right now. So I like rip over there. I got Zuri in my arm. And basically he's like, we're going to address the team tonight at 5. And I'm like, at 5? I'm like, Todd, like I have all 3 kids with me. Like, what do you mean we're addressing the team at 5? So I show back up to the rink, got all 3 kids, you know what I mean? And trying to call my wife being like, hey, like, I know you wanted that off day, but things have like changed slightly. So you're going to have to Uber out of there, get down to the rink and take the kids. And we got to address the team and so on. So
if she was with Kenny P, she was probably in a good mood anyways, because the hairdo would have been phenomenal, right?
That's right. So that was kind of interesting how it happened. But it was just mad chaos and you know what, we just ran with it, right? That's kind of the story of my life.
And it all just happens really fast, right? And then all of a sudden you're into it. Man. So that was
this was on a Friday night as well, by the way. So we got 2 games on the weekend to play.
So Franny, your story then, we haven't got you that involved here. Okay. So you were in like when the research team gets hot, right? You were the bench coach my 2 years in Cardiff. One when I went through the grieving process and the depressed situation where I handled it totally different than like becoming a head coach and a champion. I got naked and got spray painted by Deese and covered in dirt and ran around naked shouting at people. And but everybody deals with things differently. But anyways, Franny, after that, you got into like taking sponsors and you were dealing with like the business side of things. And we talked about your first episode is you do whatever the Devils need you to do, whatever role that is, whatever they ask you to do. It's what you've been doing since you were a player. But when did you were already on the bench with Scaldy, right?
Yeah. So that I was in from the start of this year. I mean, I was involved in the interview process, and
so they hire Scaldy, and then Scaldy asks you to be on the bench with them.
Kind of, yeah. We've been speaking lots about players. I was bringing him a load of players that I thought would fit into what we need, and we're having sort of conversations every other day. And this, of course, went on for over a year because we started off talking about the season that got cancelled, that got postponed, and then started to build when we knew there was going to be a season. So we've been speaking every other day for a year, 18 months or whatever. And then originally he was told there was no assistant coach because there just wasn't a budget for it this year. But then we came up with this. They asked me, basically, him and Todd, whether I could make it work with my work, and working from home sort of helped that out a little bit. But it was still long hours that I had to work back the hours that I'd be at practice 2 days a week, and obviously the weekends and stuff like that. So I was in from day one this season, apart from the very first 2 games, which ironically Skulls and I both had COVID. and we missed the first two games of the season. And Dupes stepped in to
Player
that
coach,
the very
right?
first 2 games of the season. Player coach, run a few practices, and then Todd and Jamie Elson, helped out on the bench to get us through those. And they got a big win as well in the Champions League game. But then Skulls and I recovered enough to fly into Mannheim, Germany for the 3rd Champions League game, right into face off, I think.
So then, were you running the D all year?
Yeah, I was running the D.
Okay, so then when Scaldi's, you ran the forwards when I was there, right?
Yeah, let the D to it.
So you're the D this year, eh? It's pretty easy, eh? There's just 6 of them, like whatever.
That's nice. Wow, it would have been nice to have 6
piece of cake, eh, Freddie, or what?
We spent most of the season with 5D, sometimes dropping down to 4D, because this year they had tighter rosters and wage caps and stuff like that, so it wasn't easy to bring guys in and fill a spot. So if you had an injury, we were down to 5D, and luckily in the CHL game when we were down to 5, because one of our guys gets hurt in the first game, Todd was showing me how you run a 5-man rotation.
Oh, you were telling me about that in your episode. Yeah.
And luckily we had that, because that stuck with me the whole year. So, every time we'd go down a D man, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I got this now. But it was fun running the D.
So then when Scaldi's got Brodie, then you take over the forwards then.
Yeah, basically is what happened. We just left.
But you were a full-time assistant before that?
Yeah, I was on the bench full time. I was, mostly, I wasn't running any of the forwards or the D. Scaldi was running the forwards. Franny was still running the D. I may have ran the D 1 or 2 games. I think there was 1 game Franny couldn't make it. Then there was another game I ran them. But outside of that, I was mostly just kind of there to help with, spotting things like matchups, or giving my thoughts on whether we should make an adjustment or something. It's always.
Would you give any input to guys like one-on-one, like, hey, did you see this there, or that sort of thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's how I was as a player. I would talk to guys anyways, so it wasn't much of a change from that.
Okay. And when Dupes came in, it made a big difference, because he had that good relationship with the players that he could pull guys to side, and sometimes it's it's better coming from from someone else. And you also got straight into doing the pre-scouts and stuff like that, didn't you?
Yeah, that was first day. I was there on a Wednesday, and I ran the pre-scouts for the weekend. So I kind of ran the general 5-on-5 meeting with the pre-scouts, and Scalds ran the special teams, and then he would run the general meeting before the guys would go out on the ice and that sort of thing. But yeah, again, it was kind of like thrown right into it. Got great experience. The first pre-scout, like, it's always different. You can get up in your gear and yell at the guys, or get up in your gear and encourage the guys. But when you're up there with the computer now, it's like, you're just, the boys are just waiting to rip you apart.
Just chirp you. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that was my first word. My first one, I just said, boys, save the chirp for later. All right, let's get through this pre-scout, then I'll eat the chirps later. All right. So it kind of got a little chuckle out of that, but it was good. I got into it right away, and it was kind of off and running at that point.
It's interesting. The coaching and the perception is like me coaching the kids, the under 11s this year. It's so different than, like, I could get up and shout at the boys, or like you said, but then all of a sudden you're doing a pregame speech and you can see the little buggers and just the way they're looking at you, and you're like, oh my God, I better not screw up. But yeah, coaching's fun. I really loved it this season. Good stuff. So anyways, okay. So then he gets let go. It's your show. So biggest question I got, because Franny, I know he's a big pregame speaker. Who's giving the pregame speeches now? And are they closed?
They're closed. I gave most of them, and with the first game, we kind of, we split. Franny gave a super emotional, inspirational speech. So that was nice. But for the most part, I took over from there and ran and kind of gave all the pregame speeches. And in terms of like the day-to-day stuff with Franny having the full-time job, I basically, would handle most of it during the week. And then Franny would come in on the weekend. He was great to bounce things off of.
Very similar to how it was with Lordo, eh, Franny?
Yeah, a little bit more two-way.
I didn't want to be Lorna's assistant either.
So I would grab I would grab feedback from Franny, and you know, basically we would know what the conversation would be going in, and you know, but I would usually deliver it. And you know what, in fairness, if Franny ever had anything to add, you know, I would never be the type of guy to ever feel like I'm being overstepped. Like, you know, it's all about the team and making the team better. You know, so I was always totally cool if he ever wanted to say anything. So it was a you know what, it was a good relationship, and you know, we kind of have the same sense of humor, you know. So he kept me calm if I ever did get you know, excited, and I think vice versa, you know, especially when the refs came into play and we get shouting a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I saw the pictures for the poster that Franny sent me, and most of them are the two of you. And in every picture I see like just either pure happiness or like the passion. Like you can tell you guys were right into her. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, we want to make it fun. That was kind of you know, we want to bring a couple themes. We want to talk about accountability, and just like we had to find a way to energize the group to make it fun. So you know,
excited to be at the rink.
Yeah, I had a blast. I mean, whatever, honestly, whatever happens from this day forward, that was a lot of fun. I had a blast doing it, and you know, to cap it with a championship, like no better feeling in the world to win that, you know.
And the Cardiff Devils know how to celebrate.
Yeah,
they know how to celebrate.
Just going back to the pre-game speeches, Wally, you'll like this one. So so before every game, you know, you've got to give out the starting lineup. And Skuld started it off where, you know, he did the first one, and then, you know, when we lost a game, he's like, right, I'm gonna give it to the team. So I think Big Lou, he was the first, so he gets the starting six, and if he wins, then he keeps on going on the roll, and then if he loses, it goes to Mickelson, and then the next guy, the next guy. So by the end of the year, this probably tells us we've had too many losses. So by the end of the year, we've gone through the roster. You know, obviously there's been that coaching change. Dupes has done his as a player. We're like, you know, what are we going to do now? Like, who do we go to? I said, you know what, Dupes, you know, you're leading the ship. You go for it. So you did it, and we lost that night, didn't we? We lost in OT.
0-1, great start.
Yeah, we lost in OT. We were desperate to get that first win too, but I think it was just, you know, that happening on the Friday night. It was a little bit too much, but then by the Saturday we'd settled right down, and guys were having fun and stuff. And Dupes is like, Franny, you got this now. So I did it, and then we won a few matches, and you know, I was hoping that we would take it. I think we had 7 more games. I was hoping I was going to take it right the way through, because that means we'd win a championship. But in the quarterfinals, the first leg, we play at home against Glasgow, and we lose that game.
I saw. Yeah.
So
at home.
Not only were we in one, and you know, we'd obviously manipulated the playoff draw because we had the first choice, and we wanted the home game, get a lead,
and then make them travel there and back.
Travel twice.
Now everybody thinks that's the recipe, and everybody does the same thing, right?
Yeah. So we're like, okay, who are we gonna do for this? And we have the most awesome bus driver, Dale. He's got the thickest Valleys accent that people can't understand him, but they just laugh because it's funny, and whatever he's saying is funny anyway. And he's got an absolute heart of gold. You know, he's always loading the bus. He can't do enough for the guys. So Dupes goes, yeah, Dale is our guy. He's our closer. We're bringing in Dale. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So Dupes has gone out and he's done his kind of last minute, you know, key points and everything. And then he goes, okay, guys, 3 games left. I'm bringing in the closer. The door flies open and Dale bursts in there. And this guy was so emotional and so like proud to do it. He would have been jacked up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he was so pumped. He even got like Jade, a medical officer, to film it. So because he wanted to send it to his wife to show what he'd done. And he didn't just do the lineup, he went in for a proper like heartfelt passion. It was like Braveheart in there. And
yeah.
And then
did he puke before he did it?
I don't know. He just kept on disappearing to the toilets.
He puked because he was nervous about doing it. I
No,
remember the anxiety. I remember the anxiety. I would sit in the bathroom naked or in the closet naked, waiting to jump out. And man, I tell you, I just wanted to be perfect because like I just wanted to feel a part of it again, right? And obviously Lordo was very particular, and I wasn't going to be his assistant coach, and you were already on the bench, so there's no spot for me there. I just wanted to be a part of it, and it's weird how each team you got to find what works and what dynamic it ends up being that is successful, right? And for you guys, it was coaching changes going into playoffs, and
and
looks like we figured out what works, and then the Dale coming in hot.
Yeah, coming in hot, and the boys went nuts. They went crazy. It was like it did remind me, Wally, of your pregame speeches where the guys are just absolutely just screaming, jumping up and down.
Franny, you should see by awesome. Now with the under 11s. I do the starting lineup too, but what we do is I like do the big speech, and like it's very passionate, and then I'm like, okay, starting lineup, and then I'll say the guy, and then the whole team like screamed, and then I'd say I'd lead us out, and then I'd end with Noxie, our goalie. It was wild times in there. Oh, I can't wait to give them their mini sticks. Gosh.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. Franny, speaking of videoing pregame speeches, you're the sicko that would always video mine, eh?
Yeah, that was my role on the team. Yeah.
Apparently Sam Duggan loves them. Okay, so Dupes, then you talked about how hard it is getting injured, and I went through it that year. I never got to become the coach, which would have kept me more occupied than pregame speeches. But so what was it that got hurt, and how'd you know you were done? Because like for me, I got hurt. I trained like crazy for, I think it was like 4 to 6 weeks. And then when I went back to see the doctor, they're like, yeah, you're screwed. You're done. How'd it work for you?
Well, basically I got hurt in October, and I was out with a concussion, and came back, I was out maybe 5-6 weeks, came back later, and head was feeling fine, but, kept playing. I came back, I was playing, and I kept noticing my arm was going tingly. My left arm had kept going tingly. I'd feel these tingles. And then it was getting to the point where my arm would go completely numb. It'd just be dead. And so, we're sitting there, and, you're not recovering because you're constantly, getting more and more hurt. And, it would like this toothache just sat in my neck and never left. And it was to the point where I was sleeping on my couch at home, not because my wife forced me out, but because I had to, because the armrest, I had to sleep with my neck like this to sort of space out my spine. It was the only way I could get any relief. And so finally it was one of those situations where I was like my arm's dead. I can't do it. Like face-offs are becoming almost impossible. Every time I get hit or I get a quick jolt, I'll just lose complete feeling in my left arm.
That's scary shit, dude.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I better get an MRI just to, make sure my neck's not broken or something. So I go and get the MRI, and basically, we've been through so much with our bodies and whatnot, but, there was an inflamed nerve that was basically being pinched off. And, I don't know all the medical terms they use, but basically it made sense what was happening with my arm. And basically they told me, you're looking at maybe 2 to 6 months. We don't know, could be a year. You may never get feeling back. Nerves are kind of tricky. So, I think once that kind of started, got the ball rolling, if I had to guess, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but at that point, the organization probably felt, okay, Dupes is basically one hit away from, probably losing his arm or his limb. So they, they went
and you
out
just kept playing through that, eh? You are old school.
So
do you know how many young bucks would come to the EIHL and say, I can't play with like whatever injury, right? Like you're playing with like a neck that's making your arm go numb. That's wild shit, man.
So it just kind of came to a point where they found a new guy, and it was a matter of, listen, we're going to put you on the long-term IR. You got to think about your health. Stoltz called me in and kind of broke it down, and we got to think about your long-term health as well. And so, it was kind of a moment where it was like, hey, well, this might be it. But we would like to, he's like, I'd like to invite you on as a full-time assistant. And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of cool, right? Like, get some real kind of experience. So once that happened, to be fair, I probably still didn't fully accept it at that point. Like I was like, okay, like whatever, I'll ride out this year. And see what happens. And you know what? If I get a coaching gig, maybe that's great. Otherwise, I'm going to play next year again. And at the same as time went on, and it wasn't healing, and it wasn't getting better, and like I got 3 kids at home, and I'm like, God, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, man.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Let's figure this out. And so that's when it kind of it started to settle in, like, okay, you're done. Hell of a ride, hell of a run, but
yeah,
it's time to look the other direction. And so I started forging, towards the future, and just like thinking, okay, I got to start maybe, getting my resume out there. And obviously then I had no indication that, this would happen.
This would happen. Yeah.
So I just started like going ahead and just trying to get stuff organized, and to be fair, it was like trying to get stuff, my head wrapped around certain things like that I was done. And
the other thing is that you would have been going through, that I was going through, was like, you've been a hockey player. That's how you made the money, right? This season, you got signed as an assistant coach player, but they were signing you as a player realistically, right? To help you get experience into your coaching career. But
100%.
Once that's taken from you, and like for me, it was like November, like you got your 2 kids looking at you and you're like, holy shit, how am I going to provide for them moving forward? And you're like, I've always been a hockey player. And like, the worst part for me was showing up at the Big Blue Tent and having to watch all of my best friends play hockey. It fucking killed me.
So my friend, you probably remember this game, Challenge Cup. So I've been okay, because in my mind I was probably still like, oh, you know what, you're just hurt, Dupes. Like, it's just like you're on the IR and you're on the bench, not a big deal. Then all of a sudden we're in the Challenge Cup finals, and we're in Belfast, and there's 7,500 people there, and I just start pacing before the game, like, and like Brandy's like, what's going on? I was like, man, I'm like, this is the first game where like I'm like freaking out, like I'm stressed, like I want to be out there with the boys, like it's like, and he's like, yeah, this is the first big game. He's like, this is like the hardest one, So like it was kind of like interesting, where I just sort of this anxiety took over me, and I just like started like sweating, and like I was like just like really like thinking in that these games are done playing, and so it was kind of an interesting time. But yeah, it's just like your heart gets ripped out of your chest, right? And you got to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, at least you got to still be a part of it, right?
Well, that's right. This is
coaching's all different though, dude. I gotta say, when I'm coaching the under 11s and my heart gets racing, and I know when it's a big game, the day this season when we had our big games, it felt like I was going to Challenge Cup finals with those under 11s, and I would be pacing before games. I'd be like in the zone, ready for my pregame speech. I would have everything ready for them so they could get out on the ice without anything being in their way. Like I would be so into every detail to have them ready to go, but you at least get to be a part of it. But then you don't get to go out there and like hit somebody, or like sweat, or like your heart rate just continues to beat at an irregular speed, and you don't actually get like the energy out, It's wild.
Yeah, no, it's wild, man. But it is as close as you can get, right? So yeah. My thing was, once you're prepared, if you prepare properly, I found if I prepared properly, I never really had an issue with, until that game, with like the anxiety and that sort of thing. But that game just brought it out in me, and then it was just kind of, it was a realization. Okay, all right, this is it, man. This is it, and it sucks. But it's, at the same breath, it was like, this is a good opportunity. You better take advantage of this, like, don't be sitting here like pouting, or, you got to like look at the big picture. Yeah. Right. So it's like, I just kind of took it and ran with it.
Well, Franny, let's get you involved. Do you remember those days when you switched from player to coach?
Yeah, it's, I mean, a bit different for me because I was never a top line guy like you guys. I did that kind of cheerleading bit as, role, whether it was 10 forward or whatever, in a 3-line league, or whether I was 12 forward in a 4-line league. So I was always used to doing those bits that I do on the bench. But I think, the biggest thing, like Dupes is saying, you feel a bit powerless, don't you? That once the game is going on, if you're playing, you can get yourself like fully charged up. I used to go out there, and how I could help my team was go and make a few hits, against bigger guys, because then they're going, right, Franny's doing it, then I better do it. And, that kind of thing. When you're on the bench, you can you know, there's some input you can have, but you feel a little bit helpless there, and you've got to trust the guys that are in front of you.
It's a lot to think about here in the shed. Really breaking it down here, but I would say
Yeah.
as a player, you can change the game in certain situations, like with a certain play or a certain goal. But as a coach, you can control more of the entirety of the game. If you want to get deep with me, fellas.
Yeah. I mean, do we want to go? Do we want to go down that road?
I don't think so. It's just a punch out. Let's not get too heavy here. So did anybody, I guess, yeah, if we don't know who's the coach next season, whatever, but you are going to need a goalie. The Devils will need a goalie, right?
Next year, yeah.
Legs and eggs. So when you guys lost that first game at home in Cardiff, and then you go up to Glasgow, you play Mac again. And he get legs and eggs. He gets a shutout.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing that we knew. I mean, obviously, we're not happy with the other team for announcing, you know, the signing when they
season,
did. Yeah, it's unprofessional. It's you know, in most sports it would be illegal. It would be seen as poaching. but
still the Wild West over in Europe, though. Really,
yeah, exactly. And you know, players sign with other teams all the time during the season, then it's announced after the season and whatever. But them announcing it when we still had, you know, a month of our season to go, and it was unprofessional on their part. So we weren't happy with that. But the one thing that we did know is that it wasn't going to change Mac. No. Sometimes guys, when that happens and they've signed somewhere else and their head's somewhere else, then you've lost them. Knowing Mac, he's such a competitor. We knew that he would want to go out with a championship, so we didn't have any hesitation in playing him.
Yeah, I mean, Mac came into my office almost immediately to speak to me, and it was like, you don't even need to be in here. I like, basically, I know what you're gonna say. I'm not worried. You're starting the rest of the year. You're our guy, and like Franny said, he's so competitive. You can put him in a probably like a fundraising ball hockey tournament, and you know he's gonna play for keeps. And so that's just who he is, right? He carried us, you know, all year. In my opinion, I know Besko won the goalie of the year, but I thought Mac was the best goalie, and that's not taking anything away from Besko. He obviously had 2 cups, but Mac gave us a chance to win, you know, every night. And the thing about Mac was, you know, even the game we lost against Glasgow, I don't even think he played terribly. It was just one of those nights where you would say it was like an average night. It's like, okay, you know what? Like, you don't want to say, but it's like Mac's probably going to post a donut tomorrow. Like, it's just
one of those guys that like is ultra competitive, and losing at home would ate at him so bad that you got to start in the next game because you know what he's going to do, right?
Yeah, it wasn't even a question. Like, it was like, but you just knew what he was going to do. And that was exciting because we knew we were going to have obviously good goaltending, and you know, obviously he did just that, and we ended up winning.
Well, I have never really seen the guy play. I've only just chatted with him in my shed like 9 times, but like he seems like a good dude that just like he cares about winning. That's what he cares about. He cares about winning the games, right?
That's what he cares about, right? You know, and so
you played in Herning, where he's going, eh?
Yeah, he is. Yep, I played there for a couple of years. Yeah, I was looking. Were you in Denmark for a year or two? 1 year?
Oh yeah, that's the gold helmet back there, right there. Yeah.
Oh, did you? I see it. Yeah.
With Sunderjyski, we actually beat Herning in the finals in Game 7. Yeah.
They still talk about it. They still talk about it.
And they should. But yeah, they're very well. I don't know what your time was like at Denmark, but anyways, we're gonna get into your one-on-one episode. I was just getting Franny to coerce you into my shed, and now I'm gonna try and get your full episode of one-on-one time with me. Okay.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, I'll ask you one question. This will be a preview for your one-on-one episode. Getting the call to the NHL for your one game played. How'd it go?
Well, they couldn't find me, so they had to call my wife, we weren't married at the time, and basically the coach's wife had to call my wife and get a hold of me. I was at the movies, believe it or not. I wasn't out getting shit faced or anything, but I was at the movies and I got this call like at 10:30 at night, and he just basically says, all right, pack your best suit. You're on a flight 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. You're going down to Raleigh, play the Carolina Hurricanes. So, you know, I was like, holy God, like all amped up, like ripping home. getting packed, don't know what to pack, just packing whatever best food I have, you're trying to get everything you got a flight next morning and headed down there. And so I come in buzz and get there and I'm like, holy God, this is happening. So I get in for pregame meeting at the hotel. John Tortorella is the head coach and we're doing the pre-scout at the hotel. And he's like, all right, boys, just want to welcome like Brodie Dupont, he's up. Dupes, you're not playing tonight, but welcome to the team. And I was like, okay, guess I'm not in tonight. So and so we flew down to Atlanta the next night, and that's when he came and told me like, hey, you're going to be in tonight. And
so your one game was against the Thrashers.
Atlanta. Most kids probably don't even know who they are. Phillips Arena. It was
packed house that night in Atlanta.
You know what? I will say it was a good crowd. They had about 16,000. It was kind of cool because Andrew Ladd was on the team. I played with him in junior. Nigel Dawes was there. I played with him in Hartford. So it's kind of cool to share that moment with them. Got all of 5 minutes of ice time. And then basically won the game in a shootout, which I didn't see the ice in the third. And shootout was exciting to watch. And then scratched for the rest of the next 2 games, and then headed back down to Hartford, down the highway.
Well, I tell you, we'll get into your episode here someday when I can coerce you into my shed again. But I saw you had like 3-4 seasons in the AHL with like 40 something points, and you're putting up penalty minutes, probably playing a power forward game, guy that wasn't complaining about much, probably had a numb arm and he was just like, it's fine. I'll just keep playing. One guy I saw you played with though, research team found you played with Deeds the season he had over 300 penalty minutes because that was the season you play your NHL game. He's also putting up 300 PIMs.
we had a wild team when we were there. Like we had Didio Meaty, Soriel, Dale Weiss was there. Like Chris Newberry, we had a lot of, back then it was a little bit different. It's not that we're that old, but we had a lot of meat. We had a lot of power forward type of players, and the absolute like absurdness that would happen on the ice. It was we weren't getting pushed around, but most teams in fairness had their middleweights and then their super heavyweights who were just like terrifying. And
it was terrifying in the AHL back then. When I went to Syracuse, I was like, this is professional hockey. This is what I've been trying to get to. It's a circus.
You have to do it. You have to get off the fourth line if you want to survive, because
I was on the fourth line with Mike Scroy and I did not fit it.
Mike Scroy. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, we were line mates in my AHL day. I think I have 0 points. I think in about 19 games played, 1 fight.
I think he made a comeback like 4 years ago for 2 games.
Yeah, good dude. But anyways, okay, so we'll get into your one-on-one time. I got a couple more questions for this coaches one. Okay.
Yep.
Franny, we'll start with you. Who do you think was the best dancer on the Devils this year?
Best dancer, like as in real dancing, or
like after a win in the locker room, does nobody dance anymore? What do you mean? You just sit there?
No, I don't think I did see any dancing.
Really?
Dupes, help me out on that. Anything?
No, I can't.
I know Lamon.
Is there no rhythm in the room anymore?
He throws moves.
The room, there was no dancing. Probably if you're gonna throw someone out, Sam Duggan.
He doesn't look like he has that much rhythm in his hips.
Yeah, it's not about the rhythm; it's about the feel.
He's active. Yeah. He's active in the room.
Sometimes not having the rhythm, you can make up for it with enthusiasm. I know. Okay, so what else do I got then? Okay, once you become a coach, does your Chippy Lane order from when you're a player? Dupes, did you go to Chippy Lane?
Wasn't down Chippy Lane, no.
You didn't go to Chippy Lane at all, not once.
I don't even know what Chippy Lane is.
This is absurd.
Franny,
where everybody eats after a night out.
Talk to him.
With all the kebab shops.
I'm out in Dennis Powers here. Like I got my little joints out here.
I guess. Okay, what do you eat late night then? Okay, when you became a champion and you've been out for say 2-3 nights and it's near the end and you're like, I got to eat something before bed. Where are you going?
You know, it's funny. I went out with Dixon on Tuesday night, and we didn't end up on Chippy Lane. That's all I know. We went down to a bar and we closed it up, and basically we parted ways and went home. That was the night.
That's where he's going to Chippy Lane. He's not telling you about it, eh?
He's trying to get a deal for next year.
All right, dude.
I guess we're not announcing anything today. We don't know who's the coach next year. I have no idea. I'm just like making shit up. But if you were two champions, we're going to recruit a team for next season at Cardiff, where would you start?
Well, I mean, you obviously need a goalie, right? So you'd have to get now. So you probably start with the goaltending and then move out, and you want to. If I don't know, like Franny's recruited more than I ever have, and you probably just want to get a core together and keep the core together that drives the bus. So for us.
That was a big difference this year. I mean, the year they got cancelled due to COVID, there was, I think, 14 returning guys, and we were going to have 5 new guys. And then we miss a whole season, and then the rest of Europe discovers just how good Joey Martin and Fawns and the rest of those guys are. And then it flips on its head. All of a sudden, we've got 5 returning guys, and we're recruiting 14 new guys. And we did feel that kind of cost us at the start of the season, where
it takes some time to gel and really figure out who your core is, right? Like it takes some time. It's the same happened that year in Cardiff when I showed up. We were all new, and it took us some time to figure out all the pieces where they fit, right?
Yeah, and it felt very much like that. So like this year, we want a much bigger core back, and a nice blend of we got some great younger guys. The Kugler Cox Sanford line was on fire in the playoffs. It was awesome. That was I'd love that to be a glimpse into the future, because those
I
guys
got them
really
written down. It
with
was Sanford had 7 points, Cox 6, and then who was the other guy?
Kugler, the center. Yeah, he came in halfway through the year, and that line, they just gel straight away, and they. I
got this Cox fella written down as plus 25 in the regular season.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people say whatever they want to say about plus minus. Come the end of the season, you're plus 25. Yeah. Guess who else was plus 25? Richie.
Richie, yeah, exactly. If Richie's up there, it's a valid stat.
I feel like it's validated. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Richie's currency right there.
Okay, yeah, those guys would be good to retain. So what about the NBA program? There's only one guy do it this year.
Yeah, we had Brendan Mickelson did the NBA, but I think we got a few more spots for next year. So Cardiff Met hopefully coming up big for us, and we'll looking to get a few more guys on those spots.
Well, okay, I got one other question then, because in Germany when I was young, I was like 23 when we won the championship. I maybe got carried away the next day, right? Like in the parade and everything. I was just curious if any players do you think played themselves into a contract by how they celebrated, or out of a contract by how they celebrated?
Well, honestly, it's been crazy because we partied right after in Nottingham, and that's with all the fans. And so, we had some guys going pretty hard there, but then the bus leaves, so we go home. And then honestly, the next night we had a corporate dinner scheduled. So some of the boys were out there. We're having a couple drinks, but what happened was we had a couple guys leaving for home on that Tuesday. We had a whole crew of guys heading to Croatia
on the Tuesday. They're flying home, and the season ended Sunday.
Well, here's what happened: the season got extended by a week, right? So I don't know if their flights were pre-booked from the start of the year.
Up, yeah.
Right. So they're all booked up, and there was originally supposed to have 9-10 days, kind of spacing between the finals, but then it got extended a week, so all the flights got basically pushed close together, and everyone like peeled out of town. So we really didn't even get the full experience of having whatever, the Cabina Fest in the locker room, and then getting it going, and
doing the full deal.
Yeah, and then the GB guys as well were heading out next day.
Well, then the GB guys, had to head out like 2 days later.
But that didn't stop Sam Duggan becoming the British Ovechkin with his celebrations. He was, he went after it.
Well, you have to. Every time you win a championship, you have to floor it. I mean, there's only so many of those days in your life.
Yeah,
And I agree.
I was gonna say, I'll ask you a question, Wally. So when everybody's celebrating in Saltbox and the place is going crazy, there's hundreds and hundreds of Devils fans, and all the Devils players are sinking pint shots, whatever's, which one guy is back in the dressing room sweeping up and helping the bus driver and Merds load the bus? Which one player?
Which player?
Which player?
Mark Richardson.
Absolutely. Mark Richardson is there. The captain, he's just lifted the trophy. And then I think we pop back to the bus to put Dupes' family pushchair on.
You're telling me Richie is
and Richie was cleaning the dressing room
with Dale, the bus driver?
With Dale, the bus driver, and Merds, the equipment guy. Yeah, that's our captain.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, but at the bar, wasn't Brant crowd surfing at one point?
He was, shirts off, crowd surfing. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, they sent me the video. I feel like I'm there when you guys win now. Like the stuff I get sent now. Did you know at the Team GB game yesterday, Mac went and they took a picture with Mosey with the two Steelers fans that are big shed folks that had the big shed boost flag number 17, and it's got 2 Ales and Hockey Tales beside a Sheffield Steelers logo in orange. Isn't that weird, Franny?
It's amazing how it's blown up this year. Like every game we go to, there's more and more 2 Ale stuff.
Well, you were that I had that, and how we know each other is when you came on the episode. Your last episode, it was literally like the next game was the first sighting of like 2 Ales jerseys. Right?
I looked behind after we win, and I was like, there it is. The logo is right there. And I took the selfie with this.
That picture made my day. Oh, it makes my heart want to explode.
And then next thing, it's raining Twixes and Buenos. It's just like flying down from everywhere.
Times, eh?
Right? And that's when we first saw the power of the shed.
Was that the birth of the Twix? Was it this show?
Yeah. That's where it came from. Yeah.
And then the Buenos for the boys was for my under 11 Cardiff Canucks.
Oh yeah.
We had a bag with all the chocolate in, and we had like a guessing game, guess the weight to the bag, and it was something like 11 kilos of chocolate. Was in
God. Well, yeah, and then the Kit Kats in Sheffield was pretty wild too. There was like a garbage
for one
bag
game
full.
until the fun police came along.
And the fun police. But folks, if you have a mess, don't forget to check out reddragongroup.co.uk. They got commercial cleaning services for all your different needs. If there's too many Kit Kats, Buenos on the ice, just call Red Dragon Group, folks. But seriously, Dupes, I hope to have you on for a one-on-one about your whole career, not just about coaching now. But Franny, thank you for coercing him into my shed. And I don't know what's happening. Obviously, Todd will know what's actually going on. But if you guys do end up being the team in Cardiff, that would be really swell because you're shed guys, in my opinion. So thanks for coming on, because I saw the pictures of you guys celebrating. I saw the pictures of you guys with your kids and your wives, and I was like, oh, geez, that's awesome.
It was fun. What an experience, like until you win it, right, Franny, like until you win it, it's just like, I won one other cup in Italy, which was like an Italian cup. But other than that, this is my first championship, and you can't replicate that. You can't replicate that feeling, and it's kind of, the format here in the UK is kind of interesting because Belfast had an incredible season. They win the league, they win Challenge Cup, and we're walking into the off season, winning that last game, feeling like champions, and it's just kind of funny how the format sits, right?
Isn't it weird that there's 3 in one season, there could be 3 teams that felt like they like won.
Yep, 100%. So it's like kind of, after going to Nottingham, it was a cool experience. I mean, there's a lot of pressure. It's a single game knockout. I don't know about that 3rd, 4th game, but you get to the finals and it's just like awesome.
3rd and 4th game is guys get in one. They see how late they can stay up and still play hockey the next day.
An endurance test.
Yeah. And Franny, it's great to see you back in the mix and winning trophies again, man. It's cool for me because this is another hockey season's over. and you see a bunch of my buddies retiring again. And it's like Carl Hudson's done, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of guys are now out of the game again. And it's like, we need some guys that can keep the shed sustainable by staying in the game.
I know. The older you get, it gets more depressing. It's like you just see guys just dropping like flies, man.
Oh, and that's what I like about watching hockey, is watching guys I know. And that's why I'm a fan of teams again, is because I feel like I'm back in the game now because I talk to guys in my shed.
That's awesome. Yeah. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Well, I'll be in touch for a little one-on-one time, but like Freddie said, there's a lot of guys lining up right now. So we'll give the folks a couple months until you figure out what you're doing next season, or whatever's happening gets announced, or whatever's going on and everywhere in the world. And Franny, we'll have you on again too, because I know you'll be doing something with the Devils, whether that's bench coach, assistant coach, corporate director, whatever, right?
That'll be something. Yeah.
Well, anyways, fellas, thanks for coming. You guys got anything before we shut her down and I go back to the real world?
No, thanks for having us. That was fun.
Yeah. It's we're still on cloud nine from last weekend, and I'm still looking at photos and still getting tagged on social media stuff, and it's so much fun to look through that. And today again, talking through it, it's like Dupe said, it was a wild ride, especially that last month, from that all of a sudden Friday phone call, but it was so much fun, and it was it was so much fun to work with Dupes, and just to end it like that was just perfect with
and to beat Belfast too, right? You talked about how great they were this year.
Yeah, we stopped them doing the Grand Slam, which is huge. We won the three-peat for the playoff championships. 3 in a row. That's pretty tough to do.
There's like 5 years there. Can you count that?
Yeah, but
I guess it is. A lot of different players.
Counted it.
A lot of different players. What? So it'd be you, Batchy, Richie.
Yeah. Dixon. Yeah, Dixon's won all 3 years he's been. Big Lou. Yeah.
And who else did you say?
Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah, well, and that's a good core right there that have stuck through all this weird times.
I think Doug had 2, yeah, but for all those guys from those last 3 teams, to win 3 in a row, for the group of guys that we had this year, who it felt a lot like the group that we had, Wally, in terms of the personalities and the brotherhood between them. So for those guys to all end up as winners together, it was just the perfect ending, and being on the ice with our families too, it just couldn't have been more perfect.
Winning is fun, isn't it? And getting to do it with your family and your kids, and then all the buddies you play with all year. It's such a weird league, like we've said, is that you guys won your last game of the season. You guys got to finish it on that high. And I tell you, that is memorable stuff you get to keep with you forever, right?
The kids just running on the ice, and obviously your wife's down there. Like Fanny said at the start, I guess it should be appropriate. We should thank our wives, because they do put up a lot of garbage with us, and so a big salute to all the wives and a big thank you. But
it was just Mother's Day here. You guys are in Wales. It was just Mother's Day here yesterday, and all the shed guys that come on and we talk about the love stories and the kids being born all over the world couldn't do it without them, right?
That's right. Well, I got roped into 2 Mother's Days. I had the UK version, and then I had the Mother's Day version. Rightfully so, though.
I remember those times. Yeah. And this has been another episode of Zero Ales and Hockey Tales with Freddie, Dupes, and Wally.